Alright, Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayers, the man that directed End of Watch, Fury, and Sabotage. Starring Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Will Smith, and Viola Davis. Now, I was really anxious for this movie because this is not directed by Zack Snyder. This is directed by a much better director. I like David Ayers a lot. Fury is a great movie, and so is End of Watch. Sabotage, not all that good, but I was really hoping this movie was going to be good, and it has a terrific cast. And I do like the Suicide Squad characters, so let's see how good this movie is. And the reviews didn't come out too good on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't really pay attention to those. I pay attention to my own opinion and the opinion of some critics that I do like on the internet. And the reviews from those critics were kind of mixed back and forth between whether or not it was good or not, so I was hoping that was going to change my opinion too much, and I ended up liking it. I did like this movie pretty much. I did find some things wrong with it, but I still liked it. So the plot of this movie, you got this government woman named Amanda Waller, played by Viola Davis, who does not like superhumans, and she feels that any human being with superpowers could be a threat to national security, even if their intentions are good. They could still be seen as a threat if they were to go rogue for any reason. So she wants to assemble her own team of superpowered beings, even though most of the people that she assembles don't really have superpowers, but they do have a very special set of skills that can match against superpowers. And these are all villains, the worst of the worst. But she feels she can control them with explosives being put in their neck, and if they were to disobey the man that she puts in charge, Rick Flag, played by Joel Kinnaman, their heads will blow up. And these supervillains are Deadshot, the hitman that can hit any target, played by Will Smith, Harley Quinn, the Joker's girlfriend, played by Margot Robbie, who was a former psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum. Captain Boomerang, played by Jai Courtney, who is a villain of The Flash. Then you have El Diablo, played by Jay Hernandez, who is a pyrokinetic. Killer Croc, played by, let's see if I can get this name right, this is a difficult name to say, Adilwe Akina Abaja, I think it's how to say his name. And this guy is a Batman villain with a very bad skin condition, and he has very superhuman strength. He's one of the few people that have superpowers, him and El Diablo. And you have the Enchantress, played by Cara Delevingne, who is an archaeologist that has a spirit of a witch inside her body that she's possessed by. And you got Katana, played by Karen Fukuhara, who is a woman with a superpowered sword that if you use it against people, it can collect their souls. And finally, Slipknot, played by Adam Beach, who is a master of ropes. He has unbreakable ropes, and he can make certain knots, and it's a good trait that he has in order to scale buildings. And that is our team. And also, who shows up in the movie is the Joker, played by Jared Leto. Of course, since we have Harley Quinn, we have to have the Joker. And Batman, played by Ben Affleck, does make an appearance a couple times in the film. And I did like this movie. There were some problems I had with the movie, but it was a pretty good film. First off, I thought The team had pretty good chemistry. Everybody did a pretty good job with the film. Will Smith was great as Deadshot. I really liked his performance, and he was really good in this movie. Margot Robbie, I really liked her as Harley Quinn. I really thought she did a pretty good job with the role. And Jared Leto as the Joker, even though he wasn't in the movie that much, I thought he did a pretty good job. Granted, he is not the best Joker. And it's very hard to follow the act of this guy here, or Heath Ledger. I mean, Heath Ledger is excellent, and it's a pity that he died. But Jared Leto is an okay Joker. He's not excellent, but he's okay. And once I saw how he was using the tattoos, like there's a tattoo of a smile on his hand, and how he puts it over his mouth like that. That was actually kind of cool the way he did that. I actually started to like it, but I do think some of the tattoos were a bit much. And the relationship that she has with Harley Quinn is not exactly like it is in the Batman animated series. In the Batman animated series, it's very much a Stockholm Syndrome kind of relationship, because the Joker is very abusive towards Harley Quinn, and Harley Quinn continues to come back to Joker like a doormat, pretty much, and the Joker just sees her as an ends to the mean. And in the movie, it's not really like that much. It seems like they have some real feelings for each other. Maybe the possibility is the makers of the movie felt that audiences wouldn't be able to like the kind of relationship that the Joker and Harley Quinn do have in the Batman animated series and the comics, so they felt they should change it to make it more acceptable for audiences in movies. Perhaps that's the reason why, but I didn't really mind too much of the changes now that much, really. And then you have Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang. I actually thought he did a pretty good job as Captain Boomerang, surprisingly. He's not always that good of an actor, but this time he was actually pretty good. The thing I didn't like is they didn't use his boomerangs enough. I really wanted him to use more of his boomerangs and see how good he was going to be with the boomerangs, and he didn't use them enough. And then there's the fact that he's carrying around this stuffed unicorn. I didn't totally understand why he was doing that. And then I started to realize when I was listening to another critic point of view of the movie that they took that as a reference, a rip-off from the Deadpool movie, because they used a unicorn in that movie. And I didn't realize that until a particular critic said so. I was like, oh, I guess I can see that, yeah. Oh, man. El Diablo, oh man, I like this guy a lot. He was excellent in the film, really a standout character, even though he didn't use his powers that much in the movie. He really was a great guy. Killer Croc, he was a pretty good character in the film, and he's one of my favorite Bat villains. I kind of wish they utilize him a bit more. Maybe if they do a sequel, he'll be used more, or maybe there's a solo Batman movie with him as the villain. Maybe he'll be used a little bit more, so we'll have to see. But I thought that Adil Way did a pretty good job as the character. Joel Kinnaman, I thought, was pretty good as Rick Flag, and then you have the Enchantress. They set up a romance between Rick Flag and the Enchantress, or more between Rick Flag and June Moon, the Enchantress's alter ego. And there was really not that much chemistry between them, and kind of felt forced. If they were to write it a little bit differently, I don't think it's the fault of the actors, because the actors are pretty good actors. It's maybe the fault of the script, really. Maybe that would have been better. But Cara Delevingne did a pretty good job as the Enchantress, except in other scenes where you see her dancing like a belly dancer. It's really kind of stupid. Adam Beach as Slipknot, he's just there. He's really doesn't contribute much to the movie, and you'll see why when you go see the movie. Karen Fukuhara as Katana, she doesn't contribute that much to the movie either, unfortunately. I do like that character a lot. This character showed up in Arrow, played by another actress, and Karen is a pretty good actress, so I was hoping that she would be utilized pretty well, but I guess because the cast is so big, it's hard to give everybody a good amount of screen time. But overall, it's a pretty good movie. I did like the movie. The cast had a pretty good chemistry, and as far as the team chemistry is concerned, and the action was pretty good. The problem, though, with this movie is when you find out who the real villain is, and you find out that the real villain is not the Joker, it's actually somebody else. I don't want to spoil who the villain is. And the villain's not really done very well, and it really doesn't make sense with the fact that most of these characters do not have superpowers. Only a few of these characters have superpowers, mostly Killer Croc and El Diablo. The rest of them really don't have superpowers. It's their skills that seem to match to the supervillains, like Deadshot's ability to hit things with guns in a very key, precise manner, or Captain Boomerang's use of boomerangs, and Harley Quinn's gymnastic skills. Really. This team wasn't really used very well, and in the Batman Arkham Assault movie they were used much better because each skill was utilized for a particular reason in that movie. And that's one of the and that's what makes that particular animated film better than this movie. But I still like this movie a lot, and the soundtrack was pretty good, although some of the songs were a bit annoying and tend to overtake the movie rather than mix with the movie like it did in the Guardians of the Galaxy. I felt like they only used the music because the Guardians of the Galaxy used music, and it didn't really flow all the time well with the film. But I did like this movie, so I'm going to give this movie a B. It's worth checking out. And that's all I got to say for the Suicide Squad.